back with another episode of Unscripted. Welcome back. Welcome back to the show. It's been a long past, I guess, week. It's been a little bit more than a week, but yeah. I guess first and foremost, the good news is the house is sold. We're in escrow, which I'm fucking very, very glad to finally have this thing under contract, and we're pretty close to the end of the contingency period. I think it ends on Monday. Today is Friday, so like just a few more days, and then we're home free. But oh man, it feels good because it's been a fucking long haul. Like we have had the house in the market for probably like 30 plus days, maybe around 40, maybe longer now. But like when the actual thing went under contract, and fuck, it was just a relief. And these people are good people. They seem like the right, fit for the home. I haven't actually met them personally, but I talked with the realtor and everybody, and they seem like they're great people. So I'm like relieved the house is also going to like people that, will love the house. So that's really good. But yeah, man, it's just been like, life has been so chaotic not being like on my routine and having everything just I need to live in my house. And right now, like I've said this many times on the recent pods, like I haven't really been living in this house. This house has been almost like a movie set. It's everything staged. It's all good to go. And like even some of the staging, like I've been just taking it down. I'm like, fuck it. Like the house is sold. The shit has to come down anyways. We've been thinking about the move to like getting everything out of our house and into the new one. And it's a lot of logistics and timing and planning, but it'll all come together. It'll all come together. That being said, what a relief. I'm a little bit of a nervous Nelly because I just don't want anything to go wrong with the fucking deal. And I don't think anything will. There's nothing to go wrong, but it's a big purchase. I know how people get. I mean, I remember we were buying a house before we bought the house I'm in now, and we canceled like 3 days before it was up because we were just like, fuck, like it was a good move not to buy it in retrospect. But at the time we thought this might be the fucking house we end up in. Like it was just it felt like the right choice in the moment. And then as we started visiting and stuff more, we're like, I don't know if this is where I want to actually live. And there was other factors to that too. There was I'll just fucking paint a picture. Went to the open house, liked it. Went and viewed it as it was like kind of a vacant home. We like it a lot. Started seeing some of the flaws. And then we went at night, and I didn't really notice it, but there's like a back of an apartment there. And when we went at night, that fucking apartment, it was just hip hop fucking music all the way up, people fucking smoking weed and like just partying. It was like, it's all good. Like I'm not a hater, but I was like, this is going to be every fucking night. Do I want to be in my backyard at like 6 to 10 o'clock at night and just hear a fucking party going on? It was maybe college kids, like who knows, but no, that's the short answer is no, we didn't want that. So we ended up canceling and getting a fucking different house, the house I'm in now. And this house has been great. I mean, it's not even the house so much as just like lifestyle choice. Like we want a little bit more freedom to do other stuff. And like, I don't know, I'm excited to get out of here. New chapter, kind of like a little bittersweet because the house is beautiful, but at the same time, it's like, it feels like it's the right time to move on. And especially with career stuff, everybody's trying to do their own thing, but we're also collectively working in a similar field. So it's like, this makes sense for us. This makes sense for the lifestyle we're doing, the career pursuits. So I'm excited. I'm excited to fucking move on and get out of here. And the biggest step to doing that was literally getting this house sold, which is happening right now. So everything always comes together in the end. It always does. That's something you got to keep in mind too. Is like, when you're weathering the storm, like the storm will pass. And like, it's one of those generic things people say, but it's fucking true. Like, the storm of the sale of the house is coming to an end. It's funny too, because, I'm doing the pod, I'm documenting this, and like, I'm hearing and reading and fucking seeing the titles of the episodes, but also like, I re-listen to the pods. And I'm like, oh, like the story, it's finding its natural conclusion, its natural ending. We've hit the fucking climax, which is like, will it sell? Now it's sold. And this is the falling action into the next chapter of the story, into the next episode. But fucking A, what a relief. That's all I can say. So what else has been going on? House is selling. Any crazy escapades this week? This week was not busy. A lot of staying around the house. I've been driving out to my parents to make breakfast, and eat because like at this point, I'm like, I'm not letting a dirty kitchen stop these fucking people from moving in. Like not even that they're not going to move in. I'm like a little, not even paranoid, a little meticulous. I want it to all be fucking perfect for them, and anyway, so I've been driving to my parents. I've been fucking just trying to make as many home cooked meals as possible. Like I'm just so fucking over like the trips to In-N-Out and shit. 'Cause like I'm not a big, I don't like to eat out at restaurants and shit that much. I've said this before, but like I like to cook my own food, do my own thing. So like this past week, we've been doing fucking wings. We've been doing omelets, just, mostly protein. Everyone's trying to eat healthy. Everybody wants to eat healthy because it's like move as like the stress has been a little bit of a weight gainer, but also just like eating not our regular diet. We were on like a regiment. Everyone was like, it was fitness forward. And then like lately it hasn't been that. Also, I want to say something about In-N-Out. I just read this fucking article. I've said this before on recent episodes because of just my trips to In-N-Out recently, but good God, In-N-Out has the longest line in the world, particularly the Salinas, California location. If you go, I don't care if you're a traveler on the 101, if you fucking go there after like 3 or 4 o'clock, like just prepare for a 40-minute wait if you're going to go in line. And even if you go inside, prepare for a half hour. It just never is fast. And it's not even like the service is bad. It's just like, I guess everybody in town wants to eat a fucking cheeseburger. But I just read an article today, came out on our local news, KSPW8. Fucking some guy passed out in the In-N-Out drive-thru drunk. Just passed out in his car, and it held up the line. And I'm thinking, like, maybe that's why the lines are so long. Maybe not all the time, but like, fucking A. I mean, can you imagine being so drunk you pull into a fucking, one, who's drinking and driving, but two, being so drunken, you're hungry, you're like, I gotta get In-N-Out. And then you fucking fall asleep in the drive-thru. I mean, you're not just breaking the law. You're pissing off every hungry person behind you. And I wonder how that went down. Did someone turn the guy into like the staff, like come up to me and be like, hey, bro, this guy's passed out, call a cop? I want answers. I'd even fucking love to talk to the guy. Actually, I don't know if I'd love to talk to the guy who passed out in the car. You know why? This dude's gotten 6 DUIs from what I read. It's like, yeah, 1 is enough. 6? It's like, dude, you got some deep-rooted problems. You need to put the bottle down, brother. Holy shit. But anyways, he's doing prison time for passing out in an In-N-Out fucking line in his car. And it's like, yeah, rightfully so. 1 time is enough. And that's not even acceptable. 6? Who's letting this guy drive? Is that a California thing? Like straight up, like, I don't know. But 6 is wild. Like, you've been caught before. Consequences obviously aren't mattering to this guy. Maybe prison will do it. And hopefully he doesn't get to eat a cheeseburger in prison, because I think that'd be the ultimate punishment. Like, hey, we know you love a cheeseburger. Nah, you're getting a fucking pork chop, bro. Anyways, I digress. That's a little bit of what's been going on. Once again, my printer's been jammed. This isn't even like a fucking issue about like not having paper or ink. I literally have to use my phone because my printer's jammed and I just cannot fix it. I feel like a fucking idiot too because I'm so techie. But this goddamn printer will not unjam. I don't know. I'm going to need tweezers to fucking open up the back and go in there and like extract this fucking piece of paper that's just kept it jammed. But anyways, yeah, getting ready to move into the new place. Moving's going to be a little bit of a bitch. We kind of started talking about logistics today. Got a lot of boxes, furniture, my bed. I don't even know how I'm going to get my bed frame out of my room. Like the doors are wide, the halls are wide, but I don't know. Like I said, I'm like paranoid. Like what if I get a scuff mark on the wall and these people are like, oh, you fucked up the house. I doubt it's going to be like that. But anyways, had some fucking, some talk about the move. We're going to be moving into the new place. Here's the deal. It's kind of funky on the new place. It's like a probate issue with a lady, like the lady's husband passed, but they didn't put the house into a will or like a transfer. So like we've already talked to the lawyer that's doing it. Everything's going to be fine, but it's like, we're going to move in, pay her mortgage for like 2 months. And then in August, it's actually going to transfer title to us and the deal will close. But it's just a strange arrangement and nobody likes uncertainty. And I don't think it's going to have any issues because we're cool with the people, but it's just a whole lot of, it's always something. It's always fucking something. I swear to God, but anyways, yeah. So that's kind of been the week. Really just been hanging out, preparing to move, preparing to sell, which has been going very well. We've had people coming in and out. Who came? We had a roofer inspector come. We had an electrician come yesterday. This guy was fucking retarded. Like, I'm not even trying to be mean, but like he came to see if the buyers could put in like a Tesla charger and a jacuzzi. And then this guy came in like the FBI and started like investigating the house. And I was just like, I'm sorry. I was like, were you here to check to see if you could upgrade the power? Like he said, he's like, oh, panel's nice. Might need to be bigger if they put more shit. But he started like telling me, like, well, you know, these things aren't like the right distance. I'm like, hey, dude, like, I bought this house and all this shit was upgraded, but it was not like we didn't move like placement of outlets. I just felt like this guy came in. I felt like I was being investigated. And I was just like, brother, like, welcome to my home. One, two. I was like, aren't you here to see if they can just to make sure the house has the power they want? Anyways, we ended up figuring out because we talked to our electrician that this guy is just like some fucking handyman rookie. But it was just so weird. It was a weird interaction. I'll say this too. Like, look, I've heard the quote, if you go out in the morning and you meet an asshole, that guy's an asshole. But if you go around all day long and all you meet is assholes, you're the asshole. I believe that's pretty true because like I've met some people that just like everywhere they go, they have a fucking problem. I don't try and leave the house and have a problem. This guy came to my house and somehow like, you know what's rich? Is this guy's looking at our outlets. They're GFCI or GCFI. I think it's GFCI approved, whatever. But there's a sticker that says like, this is not a grounded connection, right? Or not a grounded connection, whatever it says. It's a little blue sticker. And he puts in his thing to test it. And he's just like, oh, these don't work. And he starts saying like, these aren't grounded. And I literally go over there and I point at the sticker. I'm like, yeah, it says it's not a grounded connection. Oh, I'm like, dude, you're telling me like things like that are rhetorical already without even fucking reading, like trying to say like we were lying. I'm like, did you read the sticker? You know, and then we had to call our electrician and he started getting like defensive because of course, like he had disclosed that to us, but it's just funny. Like this guy came in, you know, like when a rookie cop, and I'll talk about Zootopia too later, which kind of is about rookie police or detectives. This guy was like the rookie cop who just like, he's like, I had like this like sense of justice. He wanted to bust somebody. And it's like, bro, you need to talk to the agent. Like I'm not an electrician. He was like almost trying to give me like a lesson. And when I actually called him out and said, like, I think you're reading it wrong, he got so upset. I could see his face change. I was like, hey, like, I'm not trying to tell you you're wrong. I'm just saying this is what it says. And it's like, don't you think like also he was just so like he wanted to be right. And I said, maybe you are right. But I said, like, that box that came with these like fucking outlets has stickers that say like grounded connection, not a grounded connection. Why the fuck would they include a not grounded connection if it wasn't something like, and our electrician sent us a code. It's legal. It's all good. It was just so fucking stupid that this guy, I think he got triggered. And like, look, we were being super nice to this fucking guy. And then it just felt like he had like 180'd. Also, like, when our agent showed up, they told him like, oh, like they started talking about the house. And he tried saying it's all knob and tube, right? And I'm like, she's like, no, it's never been knob and tube. I was just beginning to think, I'm like, where was this guy getting his information? The house was built in 49. I get it. It's an older home, but it's like, where are you getting this? It was so frustrating. And look, like I try to be very cordial. It takes someone being extremely rude for me to be like rude back, like off the bat. You know, I'd have to really be triggered. But I was being nice. I just want the deal to go through. And then this guy was coming at us for like no good reason. And it was so weird. Like we talked about it after. I'm like, I don't know what he's calling his boss. I'm like, I thought you were here to check for a power upgrade. Now I feel like I'm being investigated by like the electrical FBI, you know, anyways, fucking nonsense. He's probably not the worst guy in the world, but it was certainly a weird interaction. I feel like I have many weird interactions, not necessarily like with tradesmen, but some people are fucking strange, dude. What else has been going on? Looking at my notes. I will be honest, like this week, like I didn't really do too much film shit. I think it's because we're like, you know, even this podcast is coming out a little late, but like my mind has been just so on the move. And it's been a move centric week. I won't lie. Once we're done with the move though, Steve and I talked about like everybody's motivated to just get back to making another movie. Still conceptualizing, still talking ideas. Watched a lot of TV this week. That, like I said, I've been a homebody this week. I actually ended up watching a lot of movies this week. I've been fucking blowing through movies on Disney Plus. And coincidentally, you know, I just watched all the Toy Stories, not just because 5 was coming out. Like I knew it was coming, but like it just worked out perfect on the time. We'll get into movies in a minute, but I'm trying to think of anything else that happened this week. Really just focusing on health, conceptualizing ideas, writing. I think like it's a good reset for me because like I'm not burnt out by any means, but like I just like I've been thinking about film strictly for like ever since Peninsula Nights came out. And it's nice to know that like this little move has been a buffer. And like I think when I go back to like sit it down and write in final draft, like it's all gonna just like come out, just how it should. I'll also say this: Peninsula Nights is on YouTube. If you haven't seen it, go watch it at Devin Thomas Film on YouTube. Uh, it's viral. Maybe not by like Mr. Beast standards of like 10 million fucking views, but like the movie gets 1,000 views a day. We're at 26K and counting. 2 weeks, maybe 12 days. It's pretty fucking crazy. Like I told Stevie this: if we sold 25,000 tickets, we'd be making like $500,000 on like $20 a ticket, which is steep, but like we did charge that for our premiere, and like it was a Q&A. I can't be everywhere, so maybe let's just cut it in half. Like even if it was like not half, but like 375, 450, like without the expensive ticket price. It's just like, dude, we couldn't do those numbers without a theatrical run. And we had very good premieres. We sold a lot of fucking tickets and made a good amount of money on those. And like, not even so much about the money, so much as like the success. Cause like, sure, there's a monetary success, but there's also like the audience success, which in my opinion, audience matters more. You could make a movie and not make a nickel, but if people go out and like you can monetize yourself to some extent, be a person that people want to see and stuff. Right. Which I think is actually more important is like having art that people like, not just being popular for the sake of fucking like, oh, this is a manufactured popularity, which is a lot of mainstream shit. And no hate to them, but I'm just saying, as an indie guy, getting 26,000 views in fucking 12 days on YouTube and having it being recommended, pushed by YouTube's algorithm, this is the ultimate success an indie film could have, aside from getting put on a streamer. But like, what is a streamer these days? YouTube is a massive streamer. It's arguably the largest streamer in the world. And I'm very happy that Peninsula Nights is living on YouTube now. And I don't regret not doing it sooner. We had a great run with the Q&As, screenings, just pushing the movie through Amazon. But this viewership is insane. And I've gotten more engagement. I've gotten more attention on the film than I could have just leaving it on Amazon Prime, which if you want to support the movie, sure, go on to Amazon. You can buy it, leave a nice review, of course. But I mean, nothing's as powerful as YouTube. And so many people, like I've talked about the Kane Parsons, Curry Baker, but even if you think of like Mr. Beast, I mentioned him, man, he's got a fucking show on Amazon Prime. He doesn't have to do that, but he has leveraged his success on YouTube into monetizing himself and his not his technology, but his team and his game show idea. He could have just put it out on YouTube, but he said, no, fuck it. Like I've done so much stuff just for free and for the public. Maybe it's now time for me to monetize my actual shows and creations. And like Beast Games is dope. My expectations were like middle of the road because I'd seen Mr. Beast, but I'm not like following David Dobrik or Mr. Beast or like these YouTuber types, even the Paul brothers. Like I really know like so much about them other than their like personalities and like their podcasts and their events they throw. Like I know more about them than I know about the shit they've made, respectfully. But I think that is the thing about YouTube is like, it's a fucking mega streamer. You don't need Netflix. You don't need Hulu. You don't need fucking Tubi even. Sure, it helps to have some monetization, but like, what is it like? Monetization is just, it's almost a dirty word. I like the idea of making money, making art, but it's like, what is the idea really of monetization? So you can put ad placements in. Ads are great, but like, we've talked about so many strategies. We even talked about like on our next movie, like if we're going to put it out on YouTube, just do it old school, like a DVD. Like, hey, like there will be, 10 minutes of trailers before. If you want to fucking skip them, great. But like, that's where we can get the monetization instead of just doing ads and just doing this and that. And I don't know, we have a few theories on it, but I'm excited about Peninsula Nights' newfound success on YouTube. It's the perfect place for it. And like, I think another thing I haven't mentioned is that because Amazon limits you to do like 4K, like you can do 4K UHD, but like it's really reserved for like premium fucking streamers. Like studios can get it. For my distribution company, American Art House, it was limited to 1080. And it still looks beautiful in 1080, but I'm watching the movie now because I've been watching it more frequently, even just parts of it on YouTube, and it's in 4K, and it's just like, fuck, it looks great. So you can go and watch an entire feature for free in 4K that was made with a lot of fucking love. And it's the right place for it. Like I said, it's cool. It's cool to see people like comment and actually fucking talk about the movie. And there's a discussion going on in the comments, and it's just interesting. You know, it's weird to think like look like when I was doing the screenings and we'd have 500 people, I thought that was fucking like whoa. But knowing 26,000 people are out there and still watching right now while we talk, it's a strange feeling. I mean, like I said about last week, I said I wonder what people that are like mega fucking stars think, that are feeling this type of intensity all the time, like the Brad Pitts of the world. Like I get it, he must go out and his face is famous. My face is barely in this thing, so I'm not personally like, oh, like I look at me, but like the idea that people are watching it, they would recognize the work, possibly recognize the actors if they saw them. Pretty fucking cool. It's a powerful thing. Movies are powerful. They're not just powerful for like self fucking serving reasons. Like they're powerful because like people relate. It transcends. So one comment on there was so simple, but it says, "I wish the movie kept going," and it's like, well, yeah, like that to me is like the highest compliment. I know when I watch a good movie and it comes to an end, I'm like, fuck. Like I'm actually a little sad that this is the end because you want it to go on. But anyways, Pencil Knights is doing very well on YouTube. I'm really excited about it, and I look forward to making some new shit. Like believe me, like ideas have been on my mind, and like I've gotten to a point where like I'm pretty like I'm not okay with whatever happens, but like I've just started taking myself like less serious, and not in like a serious approach, but like you can't control everything. You gotta let go of control and just kind of like roll with it and enjoy the ride. I'm in the enjoy the fucking ride period of my life. Like I need to just enjoy it. So anyways, I'm looking through my notes, creative momentum, some of these fucking bullet points I put. We'll get into movies. Let me get a little sip of water really quick. Okay. So this week I watched a lot of animated films. I'll start at the top. Also, like, look, here, I'll preface this with Disney Plus. Like, we have a shared account. Disney's gotten strict about their fucking accounts. Like, they're every now and then they'll have a thing saying like, confirm this is your place, blah 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 blah. Like, they really like you can tell the mouse wants their money. That being said, I can't stream it in my room. Every time I log in, it must be like the one extra TV that they're just like, all right, you guys are fucking maxed out. I have to like verify every time. I just got tired of typing in the fucking password. I might even buy my own account. I'm just like, fuck this. Like, I'll just watch it out in our main room with a big TV, and that's like the only spot I can watch Disney, at least, and like all the great titles. So I'm watching it out there, and we throw on Zootopia 2. Directors Jared Bush and Byron Howard, writer Jared Bush. Uh, Jennifer Goodwin as Judy Hopps, Jason Bateman as Nick Wilde, Kei Hoi Kwan, he's the guy who plays Shorty, and he's fucking in Goonies, what's his name, Antenna? And then he's also in fucking Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I wasn't a big fan of that movie, but I like him. He's a classic Hollywood actor. It says Fortune Feimster. I'm not sure who that was, but look, Zootopia 1, great. Zootopia 2, wow. Like, it was a very almost like film noir-esque film. It was not what you would think it would be. It was very adult. I also want to say this before I get into talking about it. When I was in London, I remember I saw the fucking on the tube, they had Zootropolis 2. And I read it and I'm like, oh, cool, like Zootopia, Zootropolis. I just can't believe, like, for the UK market, they rename it like Zootopia. I don't know if they tested it there and people are like, that doesn't work for us. And then Zootropolis 2, like changing the title of a fucking movie just for an overseas presentation. It's like Philosopher's Stone, Sorcerer's Stone for Americans, Philosopher's Stone for fucking UK. Anyways, just a little note, but it's just funny. Like, you just really like, it's such a small change, but apparently, us and the Brits think very differently, or we're attracted to different things. So anyways, that's more of an aside, but Zootopia 2 was good. Like I said, it was almost like a film noir, not a murder mystery, but like investigative mystery. There's a snake that's brought into the mammal part of Zootopia, and it seems nefarious at first, but it turns out like, I don't want to ruin the movie, but it turns out the snake is a little bit more innocent than he seems, and there's a bigger conspiracy going on within their like, this is gonna sound ridiculous, their animal government. But like, it's relative to today, and it's relative to like movies like Chinatown. Like, we even Christine said it. She's like, oh, this is very like film noir. It's very detective. I'm like, yeah, it's funny. It's like the distrust of government and the distrust of like the powers that be, like people in control, like regulatory bodies and the 3-letter agencies. this show, literally like the police department they work for is corrupt. It's corrupted to the core, whether by people above them saying that these people are bad or that they already are in on it, they're paid off, whatever. It was just so crazy. I can't remember the name of the family that was like running the city, but like their history was like built on like stolen patents and stolen ideology. And it was just, look, this is a children's movie. For what it was, I was like, dude, this is so deep. It's like Chinatown levels of conspiracy, you know? And I love a good conspiracy. You guys know that. Anyways, Zootopia 2, what a fucking ride. Jason Bateman, hilarious. The Jennifer Goodwin or whatever her name is, Goodwin, yeah, as Judy Hopps, really funny. All the characters were great. I have nothing bad to say about Zootopia 2. I really enjoyed it. It was a good ride. I'd probably watch it again. Even talking about it, I'm like, God, that was a fucking great movie. And it was intense as fuck. Like the directing was really good. Like there's a sequence at the end that's like the typical showdown, you know, the final beats. And dude, it was literally like edge of your seat intensity for an animated film about a bunny rabbit and like a fucking snake. And I don't remember what Jason Bateman's character is, a fox. Very interesting. Anyways, really enjoyed Zootopia 2. All right, moving on. The next block of films, I'm going to call it a block because I watched all 4 Toy Stories that are out. And I'll talk about each one a little bit. But just to get it out there, these are obviously Pixar, right? John Lasseter is the director. Writers, Joss Whedon, Andrew Stanton, Joel Cohen, Alex Sokolo, interesting name. Cast, Tom Hanks as Woody, Tim Allen as Buzz Lightyear. Pixar's breakthrough revolutionary animated film. What can I say? Toy Story 1, just a fucking classic, an absolute masterpiece. And for a movie from 1995 that was really pioneering these graphics, it holds up very well. You wouldn't really think it looks that old unless you watch like something else immediately after. And even though it's dated, it's still extremely charming. You wouldn't, you know, like when you play an old video game like Dig Dug or something, you're like, dude, this looks like fucking shit. That's not the vibe you get when you watch Toy Story 2, or Toy Story rather. You just watch it and you're like, wow, this is really great. A little bit of an aside, just to talk about Pixar and like Toy Story's like actual conception. You know, Steve Jobs, I was reading about him because I think Steve Jobs, like, God, I wish he was still alive. I wonder what he'd have to say about today's world and his opinions and thoughts on it. He'd be an older gentleman now, but he was probably one of our most brilliant minds in America. I actually think Steve Jobs would have probably ended up becoming like the president or at least working in DC in some capacity because they would fucking have needed him at this point. Someone who is progressive but has a reasonable and sound mind and is able to implement technology in a way that like revolutionizes the use of it. And even his like fucking legacy to this day is still being, you know, Stevie's just telling me Steven Spielberg was writing his new movie on the iPad. And it's like, there you go. Like some product that he invented, even in 2023, like I think Spielberg's talking about when he started writing Disclosure Day, was like, it was opening the doors for an older man like Steven Spielberg to even be like, wow, like this technology. He said, he's like, I wrote the script faster than I've ever written one because he's like, it was just so much easier to read my nose and process. And just think about that. Steve Jobs' fucking technology has affected people even to this day. But Steve Jobs, the reason like Pixar came together is he ended up purchasing from George Lucas. George Lucas was like, he needed money. And it was in the late 80s, like 89. And Steve bought, I can't remember what it was called. It was like a division of Industrial Light and Magic or just part of George Lucas's company, LucasArts. Like their like animation department basically, where they were working on these computer graphics and 3D graphics, right? He bought it for 10 million bucks. He helped George out. And I think they're very good friends. And all Bay Area boys. Anyways, over the next 5 years leading up to Toy Story, it says that Steve Jobs personally funded like $50 million into Pixar to make it work because he believed in it. And I think it was probably during the time his tenure at Apple had ended. He was fired as CEO, and I think he was doing some soul searching, and he's up in the Bay, and he's like, fuck it. You know what? These Emeryville guys want to do this thing. Let's do it. Well, there's Jobs, there's Ed Catmull, there's all these people that wanted to pull together to create this great fucking company, right? And it's just so crazy to think that this little investment, not little, this big $10 million investment into this company, like basically a graphics company, led to maybe like not only one of the greatest animated films ever made, but one that's still coming out today. Like we got Toy Story 5 literally came out yesterday. Actually, no, it came out today, technically, June 19th. Yep, June 19th. Let's check on my laptop, make sure the date's right. Think about that. You know, this movie that came out in 1995, nearly, 30 something years later, is now maturing a 5th film. And I think it'll be just as good as the other 4. And it's just a crazy ride from where it started to what it became. Like Pixar has grown to be something that like beyond its wildest dreams. And also like not every company has a movie off the bat, like a Toy Story. Like their first movie was a 10. Just a 10 out of 11 out of fucking 10. Anyways, I digress. I love that story. I love hearing about success and how people have, created their own fortune and success through just fucking sheer will. And I get it, Steve Jobs, yeah, he had a lot of money, but like, you could have a lot of money like a lottery winner and blow it on fucking dumb shit. You always read about those guys that go broke or, lost it all. I've read about that guy in the UK, and maybe it's just a meme, but it says like he blew it on like cocaine and hookers. So if you want to go and fucking be an idiot and not build anything for the rest of the world, go for it. Go be that guy. But Steve Jobs was not that guy. He's like, I want to build something for everyone. And that's what he did. And that's how we got fucking Toy Story. So Toy Story 1, you all know the plot. Andy is Woody's, fucking kid, and these toys are actually animate. They come to life when other people aren't in the room, when real people aren't there. And all they want to do is be played with. And it's just such a sweet idea. It's all about innocence and youth. And it's just crazy. Like, Andy gets this new toy. It's a new best friend. He comes into the picture, Buzz, and it just ruins Woody's life. And like, this is like the reason, like, I kept watching these movies, especially like Toy Story, like 3 and 2, like I'll get to them, but like, it's all like this big, like what makes these movies so powerful? It's this universal appeal that these stories tell. They tell things that are just so true to life things. Like, in the first movie is Woody gets replaced by a new best friend. But by the end of it, they learn what friendship really is. It's loyalty, it's commitment to making other people feel good. And in this case, Andy is their like owner, right? Their job is really to make Andy feel good, not to self-serve. Like, and I get it, the toys want to be played with, but like all the other toys, by the way, never seem to have a problem because Woody is the favorite in this group of toys and the leader in this group of toys. He feels like his purpose and his legacy is being stomped on by this new guy, Buzz. Very human, very relatable. Nobody wants to be replaced or feel like they're not the guy anymore, right? And Woody's feeling like an old dog. And like just the transitions even of Andy, like they do that montage, Andy gets Buzz, and then it shows like his room changing from cowboy to astronaut. And I even thought, like, this is more of my opinion, but that the cowboy faded out in like the 50s and 60s, like after 1969, the moon landing, everybody wanted to be an astronaut. Well, these guys, Lasseter and Stan, the writers, that was probably how they felt as kids. They're like, God, I used to love watching John Wayne, but now I want to be Neil Armstrong. And I think like, between 1969 and the time the movie came out, these guys probably grew up, wrote the script, boom, they made the movie. They were probably around my age when they made Toy Story in their 30s, right? Maybe 40s. But it's just funny to think that, that was motifed in there. Cause like, the cowboy and the astronaut, I get the thing, but it's like almost probably a derivative of their childhood. And some of the toys are modern, some of them feel a little bit more vintage. But my point is like, even this visual metaphor, like look, like the cowboy, the past, astronaut, the future. It was just interesting imagery. I also think of things very philosophically. So I look at it, I'm like, that's interesting that they did that. But yeah, the first movie is just all about, becoming obsolete and about feeling not wanted and purposeless. And they nailed it. Like, obviously, in the end, Woody and the little bandit toys that Sid has destroyed go to save Buzz from his, like, Sid's going to blow him up with a rocket. Their journey together makes them become great friends. Also, Buzz has a spiritual awakening when he finds out he can't fly. He sees the commercial of the Buzz Lightyear toy at Andy's house and says, toy cannot actually fly. His reality becomes shattered when he realizes his sole purpose is to serve as a toy, that he is a piece of plastic, and it's just so well done. It really hits the heartstrings, and you can feel for Buzz Lightyear in that moment when he tries to fly and he falls and breaks on the floor, right? And after that, when they're plotting to escape, to get back to Andy, it's just like, Buzz isn't in the right state of mind. He's okay with getting fucking blown up. He's not suicidal, but it's like his life feels purposeless because he really believed he was like this Space Command fucking person. He realizes I'm a toy. But because of Woody's undying loyalty to Andy, he's able to show Buzz that, like, the thing we really want to do and focus on here is make this kid happy. That's our purpose. And they both team up. They get back to Andy. Happy ending, right? The ending of Toy Story 1's sweet too. They show the fucking, they get a puppy, right? It's a good time. Nostalgic for me. I remember seeing Toy Story many fucking times as a kid. But one is special. It really is. You know, it's the one that sets the tone for the rest of Pixar. It's funny too. This is more. I didn't watch it all the way through, but Bugs Life was a sequel, not the sequel, but it was a second film, and then they made Toy Story 2. Obviously, it was a mega hit. But you know, Bugs Life is kind of it was weird. It was almost like I watched it. I'm like, yeah, it's good, but like I liked it as a kid. But like watching it now, I'm like, why didn't they make a Bugs Life 2? It was like not a commercially popular film. I read. I guess that movie Ants came out at the same time. So it's interesting that like Pixar's like, we're gonna make this Bugs Life movie, and it ended up not having the same acclaim as Toy Story. It was a little bit more flat. As a kid, you don't think that. As watching it as an adult, I'm like, I see where they're thinking like, hey, maybe Bugs Life ain't all that. Not that it wasn't popular, not that it wasn't a money maker. It made some money. It just never got to the heights of Toy Story, and that's why like I was like, why didn't I was googling like why did they never make a Bugs Life sequel? Just they said they just thought the attention didn't warrant it, and maybe they're right. And honestly, what the fuck would it even be about? And when I was watching it, I even thought, like, this one just doesn't have the same feeling as Toy Story 1. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I need to finish it all the way through. I got up to the point where, like, I can't remember. I think his name's Flick or whatever, is like going to like the bug bar. It's like underneath like a trailer. The idea is good, like it's genius, and it's not a bad movie at all. But I get why they're like, we need to do Toy Story 2 now. Because they're like, we need to have another hit. We need another Oscar. Um, so, anyways, Toy Story 2. One was beautiful. Love everything about it. Love the Pizza Planet scene. It's just iconic. Toy Story 2 for me is probably the one I watched the most. Love the story. They moved into a new house. Andy, Buzz, the gang, everyone's there. In this one, Andy is having a yard sale. Woody goes down to save one of the other toys that's being sold. I think it's Rex or something, right? I actually can't remember, believe it or not. Anyways, Woody goes down there and he accidentally gets taken away by a toy collector who finds him. And he's like, oh my God, like this is the missing doll. And I'll have the whole fucking set of Woody's roundup, like all the characters from the show that Woody was a part of. And when Woody is taken away, the rest of the gang is like, we got to save him, right? But it's interesting. Woody goes away and he ends up finding like purpose with the new group because like the prospector and Jesse and Buckeye, like, you know, the other people from his show, the other characters, the minor characters, uh, they really, you know, want him to stay. They're like, we're going, the prospector sells him. He's like, we're going to like a Japanese fucking museum. You'll love it. But what he doesn't really know is that the prospector's looking out for himself. Complete self-preservation. He's an old toy. He knows he's not as valuable as Woody or Jesse or even Buckeye. And his ulterior motive is like, let this toy collector, like toy collector gets Woody fixed up. It's a great scene where they polish him up. They make Woody's hair new, spray his bald spot. They fucking sew him back up perfectly where he needed some stitching. He basically gets a fucking, you know, a makeover, but let's just call it more of like a redo. Like they fix him up. An old toy that's been fixed. Very sad. He paints over Woody's boot though, where it says Andy. And, you know, obviously it's sentimental to Woody and to the audience. But anyways, we don't know that initially, but the prospector is plotting the whole time to do it because he knows that going to this museum, he'd rather be locked up in a fucking glass box for the rest of his life than get thrown into a dump because that's what he really values himself at. It's a big reflection of his personality and who he is. I'll say this. I won't go to every beat of Toy Story 2 because if you've seen it, you've seen it. It was great. There was a lot of adult innuendos, especially with Barbie at the fucking, you know, Al's Toy Barn. But the reason I also like Toy Story 2 so much is that there was a video game, Toy Story 2 Buzz Lightyear to the Rescue. I played this on N64 every fucking day as a kid. It was that or Mario Kart or Smash Brothers. But this Toy Story 2 game, like, dude, I had core memories of playing this game. It reminds me of being a kid. Absolutely love the game. I actually saw, because I Googled, I'm like, why didn't they like have like a port of this or something that we could game on a good console? Turns out in October they're releasing that with a couple other Toy Story games. Like they're like re-releases. You want to like updated maybe. I don't even think they're updated. I think they're just porting them out for like all the consoles. So super fucking excited to play that. I can't tell you, like I played it on my N64. My original N64 broke. Then I bought a new one, but this new one it like restarts. It's just never been as functional as my OG. And I've got a ton of N64 games. I just fucking love keeping old consoles and shit because you just never know. You might be like, I want to relive that game. I want to play it again. And Toy Story 2, Buzz Lightyear to the Rescue, whatever it's called, the Toy Story 2 N64 game. Let's just call it that. Dude, when this comes out, I will be gaming it. Excuse me. I'll be gaming it for fucking sure. It's an absolute classic. And dude, it was probably the toughest game I played as a kid, but it's so cool. You're Buzz Lightyear, you got a little laser, you shoot around. The first mission's at Andy's house, and you're just trying to get out of there. But like It was almost open world. You're in a map, but like there's tasks and objectives. You can go upstairs into the attic and go out to the garage, the backyard. As a kid, it felt huge. It was my Grand Theft Auto, if that makes sense. We'll talk about Grand Theft Auto as well. I saw 6 is coming out with pre-orders on the 25th. I fucking, finally. But dude, yeah, Toy Story 2, the video game, it's insane. And maybe when I get it, Stevie and I have been talking about doing a little bit more streaming. We're fucking really good at Mario Kart. I know it sounds cocky to say, and look, like, yeah, fucking at me if you want, but we're definitely gonna start saving our runs and races because, like, dude, like, maybe we're not JPG, but we're fucking good. And we're gonna put those out. But yeah, maybe I'll even stream a little Toy Story 2 when it comes out. Or like just put out fucking some gameplay, maybe some commentary. Cause dude, it's like, I know I've been describing it, but it's a great fucking game. If you ever play it, you would understand. But anyways, Toy Story 2, I want to say one more sequence in there that I really, really liked was the sequence with Jessie, where she gets left behind by the little girl who used to like love her, right? And it was just like, look, Pixar and Disney, they do a great job at trying to fucking make your eyes well up with tears. It's their expertise. They built their brand on that. Tears in the eyes. And it's good. It's cathartic. It's good to feel these fucking emotions because, sometimes you don't get instigated to those highs. And seeing the Jessie abandonment in Toy Story 2, like, literally is gutting. You see a little girl is excited to get her, takes her everywhere with her. And then it shows, one night Jessie gets pushed and she falls over the edge of the bed and she looks up and the little girl is now a teenage girl and she's painting her nails with her friend. And it's like, it's sad because the innocence of the child is leaving and like time is moving on. But it's also, it's sad because it's a toy seeing it. And the toy is almost, I think, seeing it more through like the parental eyes, like, oh, like my little girl's growing up, my little boy's growing up, right? In 3, they get more into the little boy growing up. But like, I get it. And it's sentimental and it puts tears in your eyes. It warms your heart. It also makes you feel bad. It's like Jessie feels abandoned by the child that once was. And it's sad for her because she just wants to be loved again like she was with the unconditional love of a child. But it's like, the movie eventually gives Jessie a fresh start with Andy. She gets to live another life with a new kid, which most toys don't, which is kind of like, as they progress on, you see that toys start becoming obsolete or dated or out of style, or maybe kids just want to play something new. I hear 5 is going to be more relative to like technology replacing toys for children. We'll get into that. I got to see it. I'll do a fucking emergency podcast after I see Toy Story 5. But that sequence with Jessie, it makes your heart flutter. It was beautifully done. And fuck, like, it makes you think about your own innocence and your own childhood and all those things. It just is very provocative. They knew what they were doing. John Lasseter knew what he was doing. Same with the writers. But fuck, that sequence particularly, I think is maybe like one of the most masterful in the Pixar filmography, and just like, it's just truly good. The song that goes with it too, I can't remember what it was called, but it's a beautiful piece of music to accompany it. And it's just truly fucking emotional, but Jessie gets her happy ending. And 2 was just a good time, just a good time overall. Moving into Toy Story 3. Now look, Toy Story 3 came out in 2010. I was, I think, 18, maybe 17 going on 18, or 18 going on 19. I think 18 going on 19. Senior year of high school. I think it was the summer before my senior year. And I remember seeing it and I didn't like it. Not because I didn't think it was a good movie, because it was too fucking sad. It was so hard to watch because, like, I was Andy. I think every kid our age was Andy. Every little boy and girl that turned 18 that year, they became the Andy here, the surrogate. It doesn't matter the sex really so much as like, I am that person. I felt this pain of being like, oh, like, I'm not a kid anymore. Not even pain. That sounds wrong. But this, like, there's this like letting go of being a kid and moving into your adulthood. And that's like, you see that toy you used to like fucking value highly. And you're like, God damn, like now it's kind of just a toy. Maybe it's just a piece of plastic. Kind of like, the adult realization that these are manufactured to be not thrown away, but like to be enjoyed by somebody who wants to animate it like the toys want. I also say one more thing before I go on that tangent, because Toy Story 3 sad. Park it there. I noticed in 1 and 2, and particularly in 1, that not just Ham, but Mr. Potato Head did not like Woody. He was always like, fuck Woody. Like, he's trying to point to Woody as like the scapegoat and the culprit. But I started thinking, like, Andy in the very first scene of Toy Story 1 uses Mr. Potato Head as like the fucking reward, like bank robber poster, like, his wanted poster. He says he stole like $50 bazillion. It's like, well, maybe Andy's personification of who Mr. Potato Head was as his toy led to that dislike of Woody. It could have been underlying jealousy as well for Woody being the star toy in the group. But just a note, I just thought it was very funny because I never thought of it that way. But anyways, Toy Story 3, Andy's grown up. He's packing shit up for college. He's ready to fucking move on to greener pastures, have a good time, smoke a doobie, and drink a beer at college, right? Like everyone in 2010. Besides the point, he is getting ready to leave, and the toys are trying to figure out their plan. They're like, we'll just go in the attic, and we'll wait until fucking Woody gets back, or Andy gets back from college, right? It'd be better to stay up there. And once again, self-preservation. Toys are looking out for the long term. They're like, well, we're not going anywhere unless we get thrown away or incinerated. We'll be here. And Woody's plan is to also try and go with Andy to college, which Woody in the beginning is having a hard time letting go of Andy and vice versa. But through Woody's journey and the rest of the toys' journey too, they end up going to this Sunnyside daycare, right? They get accidentally taken to this daycare and donated. And when they're there, they get played by Lotso. He's like this big bear. He's like, oh, you guys can go in this fucking other room. It's the whatever, I can't remember, like the wildflower room. It ends up being like the preschoolers room where the toys are just absolutely trashed by the kids. They're like biting on them and licking them and painting them. They just don't treat the toys with respect because they're too young. These toys are too young, or these kids are too young for these toys. Whereas like Buzz is looking across and sees the other room where Lotso's at with his gang, like the Ken and Barbie doll, and it's all the like calm, like 1 through 3, grade kids, right? Or maybe kindergarten plus. And he starts thinking like, huh. But before, when they get to this fucking place, Woody like sees all of them. He's like, yo, honestly, like I'm going back to Andy. Like you guys can stay here because they're like, kids will play with us. It gets sold on Lotso's dream that you'll get played with every day and you'll be loved. Like you were loved by your first kid. And they're just like, that sounds great. Why would we do that? Andy's going to college. Like, why would we go home? And Woody's like, I don't care. I'm loyal to Andy. I'm going fucking home. Woody escapes, and as he's escaping, he accidentally gets caught in a fucking tree. I think he gets picked up by a bird and dropped in a tree. And when that happens, he fucking ends up getting picked up by Bonnie, one of the moms who's friends with Andy's daughter, right? It's Andy's family friend's daughter. And Bonnie takes him home, and Woody talks to them, and they're like, it's a new group of toys that she has at her house. It's a new group, new house. And he's kind of like looking up. They help him. They're like, oh, you're the new toy. They help him look up Andy's address. It's like a block away. He's like, oh, dude, I'm like a block away. I can pretty much like walk back to Andy's house. It'll be a journey, but I can do it. And then he's like, this is great. And they're like, okay, well, it's good to meet you. He's like, yeah. He's like, this beat's going to Sunnyside. He's like, those other toys are dumb for staying there. And they all get quiet. And they're like, wait, your friends are at Sunnyside? They're like, dude, they're fucked. And when Woody hears that, he has to make a choice. He's like, do I go back to Andy or do I go back to fucking Sunnyside and save my friends? And that is like, that movie is a masterclass in constant conflict, like just one conflict after another. That's what they could have fucking named it. Got Paul Thomas Anderson on that motherfucker. But it is just, Andy goes back, or not Andy, excuse me, Woody goes back and he decides to try and save the toys. They have this fucking unbelievable journey escaping. There's a lot of like, it was just so well done. It was so well done. I want to point something out too. Barbie ends up not liking Ken because Ken is in with like Lot. So he's a part of the mob, right? That works at the Sunnyside place. They run this shit and they like patrol it. They treat it like a prison, basically. They have those toys locked up. They're like patrolling at night, no way to escape. But Barbie ends up going to like, not seduce, but she goes to Ken and like plays him. She's like, why don't you put on all your outfits for me? And Ken's like doing all his looks. And then she starts holding him hostage. Like, I'm going to rip your clothes up if you don't fucking tell me like how we can like shut down the security around here. Like turn off the fucking, there's like a monkey that watches cameras, all these things that they just need to do to get out. And Barbie's manipulating Ken, rips his outfits up, finally gets him to cave, right? And then Barbie goes to this librarian. They need the instruction manual to fix Buzz because Buzz, they like reset him and they make him like, it's not only Spanish mode, but not Spanish mode. He's in like ninja mode, like demo, where he still thinks he's a space ranger. And they program him and they tell him like, hey, don't let these people leave this classroom, right? So Barbie needs to get the manual from this librarian. She has to go incognito, but it's only able to get this manual after convincing Ken. Okay, so she gets Ken's outfit. It's like the astronaut outfit, right? She goes to the librarian. It's like a turtle doll. And he gets it and brings it out. But as she's walking away, she's wearing heels. And it's like, and he kind of looks and goes, ugh, like, almost like insulted by the look, not even grossed out, but like insulted. And it's like, wow, I can't believe that in 2010, Disney was willing to make a joke like that. They make some, I also watched Mulan. They make some very like drag show jokes and like shit. I just feel like with today's political climate and how people feel like these jokes, like I'm surprised nobody's like complaining about them. Not that I give a fuck, but there's like the woke and all that shit where people are like you can't say that, or like the political correctness is probably more so than the wokeness. People are just so caught up on PC, and I think that's fading out. I think people are kind of like, look, like we can joke about shit again. But like even Disney making a joke then, I was like, it wasn't weird to make a joke it was socially acceptable because it was done in jest. It wasn't done in a hateful way. It wasn't done in a way to marginalize groups or make people feel bad. It was just a fucking joke. And it actually was like, I was like, that's so fucking great. Like they can joke about this. Why is Ken dressed up in his astronaut outfit wearing heels? The guy's kind of like, ooh, well, I guess whatever. I guess Ken's kind of freaky. That's it. Like, obviously there's Barbie under the outfit, but I digress. I just thought it was funny that they went there because like now Disney wouldn't touch a joke like that with a 20-foot fucking pole. They really wouldn't. And like maybe that's part of their issue with like their branding and humor and stuff. It's like it's okay, joke around, have a fucking live a little. You guys might get some backlash, but you know what? Most people are gonna laugh, and the people that are fucking angry, they're gonna be angry at everything anyways. That's how I look at it. So, anyways, they escape. They go on this big journey to Woody gets some insight to Lotso, like the bear that lives there. He talks with the clown that lives at Bonnie's house. And anyways, finds out Lotso used to have a kid, and he's kind of played everyone that's been in his inner circle. And in the end, it's all the toys of Andy's. They all get taken to the fucking dump with Lotso, and like they're about to be incinerated. And this Lotso guy could have stopped it, but he doesn't, and he escapes, right? And then the little aliens, the claw, they end up saving Andy's toys and Woody and everybody Buzz by like clawing them out and taking them and dropping them off. It's a perfect ending, right? They use a claw to save them from this like incinerator at the dump, and then they hop on a fucking garbage truck and they're back to Andy's in time, right? I'll also add this just because I've already talked about it. Lotso gets picked up by like another worker at the fucking junkyard or the dump. He smells them. He's like, I used to have one of these. It smells like strawberries. And he straps him to the front of a truck. It's like the perfect ending for this asshole. It's what he deserved after fucking everybody else's life up. It's almost like, hell for him. They get back to Andy's house and, Woody goes and he tells everybody, hey, like, goodbye. I'm going to go and hop in the college box. You guys are going to go to the attic, right? And then he sees Andy's mom, like, letting him go, giving him a hug. And, like, she kind of breaks down. She's like, I can't believe you're going to college. And then he's like, it's okay. And, Andy sees, like, how sad the mom is. And it's just, like, something in him he realizes, like, I need to fucking learn to let go of Andy. So he gets out of the college box and he goes back into the box with all the other toys. But before he does, he writes a note and just says, like, you should donate these, and I think maybe he infers, like, donate them to Bonnie. And he hops in, and then Andy sees it, and he's like, huh. And he, like, opens up the box. He goes to Bonnie's house, right? And he's giving her all the toys. And it's a very fucking emotional scene. Andy is letting go of his childhood. He's letting go of that innocence, those days just playing with toys, hanging out. And it's just a fucking beautiful scene. Like, your eyes are fucking wet the entire time. You cannot not cry when you watch this scene. And, when it comes to Woody, Andy, like, is, like, gonna give it. Bonnie's like, oh, it's my Woody doll. Because don't forget, Bonnie found Woody outside the fucking daycare. And she goes to grab it, and Andy pulls back. And it's kind of like, it's the final moment before Andy's like, he looks at Woody, he's like, fuck. Like, Woody has been my best friend this whole time. But I know giving it to this little girl, it's like closing the book. It's a closing end of a chapter on his life. And look, like, these moments in real life, they're dramatic. They're never maybe as dramatic as this. But seeing it fictionalized in a way that puts those emotions through you, it's just a fucking heart wrencher, dude. And it was such a beautiful way to end those three movies, those stories. Oh, fuck. It was so good. It was like, and look, I told you when I first saw Toy Story 3, I thought, fuck this movie. Why are you doing this to me? Why are you trying to make me feel so fucking sad? And now I watch it, I'm like, what a beautiful fucking scene. It's so true. Because hindsight's 2020. At my age, looking back and seeing this fucking movie, I'm just like, wow, like, it really, really, like, they got it. They nailed it. It really hit on the heartstrings. It was a perfect 10 out of 10, maybe the best of the Toy Story movies. I know I said 2 is my favorite. 1's a classic, but 3 really stood out to me this time. I was just like, well fucking done, round of applause. I'm sure it won its statues and did out the whole show, but wow, 3 was really good. And also, I want to say fucking Stanton directed 3. I don't have it here, but whatever. Doesn't really matter. I mean, this group of guys, they all work together anyways. But 3 was a 10 out of 10. Really loved it. It was a perfect way to end the Andy chapter in the Toy Story world. 4 was different. Toy Story 4 was very different. It's Woody and the toys are living with Bonnie now. It actually has a cold open. It shows the night Bo Peep disappeared. She's absent from 3. The night Bo Peep disappeared was like it's a flashback to when Andy and the toys, excuse me, Woody and the toys are still living at Andy's, right? And Bo Peep is going to be picked up by a friend who wants to, like a friend of the family who wants to buy her as like a gift for like a little girl, right? And Woody is going to try and save her. He's going to try and stop the well, there's a few things. There's actually the fucking RC car toys out in like the gutter in the rain. They're trying to save him. And then I don't even remember. Bo Peep ends up getting packed up to be taken away, right? And when Bo Peep is being taken away, Woody sneaks down through the rain to the car and he opens it up and says, like, hey, to Bo and the sheep. He's like, I got you, let's go. And she's like, no, like, honestly, Woody, like, I have to go because Andy's sister doesn't play with me anymore and she hasn't in a long time. And she's like, to be honest, like, I'm not happy. It has nothing to do with Woody, has nothing to do with the other toys. She's like, I need to go. And she like closes the box and like, straightens Woody's hat and closes the box. Is like, bye. Woody's heartbroken. Clearly it's, he's shook. It's the love of his life, right? Woody goes back, years pass, and now it cuts to him at Bonnie's. No longer at Andy's, he's at Bonnie's. And Bonnie's playtime's coming up and they're all in the closet. And, she picks every toy but Woody. And Woody is just feeling like his purpose is gone, And he's sitting in that fucking closet with the other toys. He's trying to act cool, but you can tell he's bothered. So Woody ends up, there's also like another girl in charge there who's like one of the more played with toys. And like, you can tell Woody's just trying to find his place within Bonnie's life. And he ends up going with her to school on her first day because he's like, he sneaks in. He's like, I'm going to go. Like, I have to do something. He's almost like a loose cannon. He's like, I need attention, So he goes with her to school and he goes to her classroom and they're making a toy for the first day. And he sees how like Bonnie is hating school. So he helps her make her toy, Forky. It's like a fork with like a pipe cleaner and like glued on eyes. And like, he's like a pseudo toy. He's got a little clay at the bottom. But because Bonnie brings him to life, he becomes animate. And at first he just wants to jump in the trash, but like Woody protects him at all costs. He makes sure this suicidal toy doesn't jump into the trash and fucking ruin Bonnie because Bonnie needs this for her confidence. Woody believes that. He's like, this is going to make her a better and stronger person if I can keep this fucking fork toy around because she's proud of it. She needs this boost to get her through school and build her ego up, right? So that's Woody's new purpose is keeping Forky alive. Well, they go on a road trip. And on the road trip, Forky ends up running away and Woody ends up running away with him because he's chasing him down. And who does he run into? He ends up running into Bo Peep. Actually, before Forky disappears, they go to like an antique store or something, whatever. I don't even remember how it happens. The movie is a lot happens. But anyways, Forky gets stuck in this antique store, right? And Woody ends up meeting up with Bo Peep. She's like a lost toy now. And it's like serendipitous that they meet. But he kind of like, she tells him about her life and he tells her about his life. And she's like, oh, like you're still not with Andy, right? He goes, no. He's like, I'm with a new girl, but I still have an owner. And like all the other toys that are lost are like, oh, an owner. They're like, I can't believe you still have a kid, And for Woody, it's reality shattering that other toys are just living out free. He gets a taste of it with Bo Peep. He loves her. He obviously still wants to be with her, but then he starts going out with her and like the whole movie, he's like, I can't abandon Bonnie. I have to do this. He's given himself the mission of protecting Forky and making Bonnie happy because that's what he wants to do. Woody wants to be played with. He wants to satisfy the kid, right? He wants to fucking have them and their heart feel full. And with Bo Peep, she's just kind of like, yeah, like I could just go to a sandbox and the kid will play with me for a little bit and I'll get that, that need fulfilled without having to completely commit to the heartbreak of a kid not wanting to play with me in 5 years, 10 years, right? She's also like, a lamp or like an artistic lamp. Like she wasn't exactly like everyone's favorite toy and she knows it. And she's like, I'm better off this way. And anyways, throughout the journey, yeah, they get Forky back. Woody and fucking Bo Peep, they help this evil girl. I can't remember her name, but it's like the other evil doll at the store. Long story short, Woody's journey in 4 was going from like, I have to have a kid to have purpose to, oh, like I could just stay with Bo Peep and explore life. There's more to life than just serving this kid's happiness. He's like, I've already fulfilled that mission. I did it for Andy. I've done it for Bonnie to some extent. And it's a very sad scene that he says goodbye to all the other toys, but it's also like Woody needed this to move on in his life. He needed to feel like his mission was complete with those kids, but he himself, the thing he was searching for, which is beautiful because they say like, oh, these toys are lost, like Bo Peep is lost, and all her little posse of people she's with, I can't remember their other names, but Buzz says it when Woody ends up joining Bo Peep. All the, I think it's Potato Head and all of them are like, wow, like, Woody's just a lost toy now. And then Buzz says, like, no, he's not lost. He's, I get it. He's found purpose with Bo Peep versus being just lost in life, trying to make it work when the situation obviously isn't working anymore. And it's just like, once again, Pixar knows how to fucking put a tear in your eye, a flutter in your heart. That is just like, it sounds cheesy, but it's true. And wow, 4 was like even better than I remembered. It's hard to say. 3 and 4 are very strong. 1 and 2 classics, but 3 and 4 were like real fucking emotional movies. And that leads me to the next one, 5. Like, if Woody's a lost toy, are we going back in the timeline? Are we going forward? Is he rejoin them? A lot of questions. And obviously, like, I really wish I would have saw the movie before I did this pod because it would have fit right in. But we'll talk Toy Story 5, like I said, soon. I might go see it today. I actually was looking online. Like, people say the theaters are dead. I don't know about you. They're definitely not fucking dead. Not when a good movie like Toy Story comes out. Literally packed. And the only reason I wouldn't go to a theater that's got like 80 or it's like 70% filled is because I know it's going to be all fucking kids. It's going to be loud. And I'm trying to watch this thing like a sophisticated man versus like the commercial, like we're taking the kids to the fucking movies, Toy Story's out, But damn, I'm excited to see it. I think it's going to be another masterpiece. What can I say? They just really don't let you down. Okay, so the last movie I watched this week was Mulan, 1998. Directors Tony Bancroft and Barry Cook. Writers Hista Hisso, Chris Sanders, and others. Director of photography, Disney. Okay, well, that makes sense. Ming Na Wen as Mulan, Eddie Murphy as Mushu, BD Wong as Captain Li Shang. Let me get a little water before I go into this. Oh my God. Mulan is a movie I haven't seen in a long time, but it's a movie that I'd watched hundreds of times as a kid. And even really the reason we watched it is Christine was like, fuck it. You want to watch? We're watching Disney movies. Well, what about Mulan? I'm like, you know what? You don't have to ask me twice. I fucking love Mulan. We go and we put it on, and like from the moment it starts to the moment it ends, and the movie is an hour and a half. It feels like fucking 20 minutes. It is just a banger. From the moment it starts, the moment it ends is nonstop fun, nonstop emotion, nonstop musical numbers, which like, look, I'm not a musical person. Not really. Like watching Mulan this time, I felt like it was an animated Broadway play, which usually is not something I'd even fucking really be that into. But watching it this time, I'm like, wow, this is fucking like, if this was live, I'd buy fucking tickets to go see Mulan. I'd see it often. To be honest, the soundtrack was so good. The songs were just so meaningful. I was talking about how Disney plays on this universal broad appeal. The message in Mulan was so broad and so universal. And if you don't know the story of Mulan, Mulan is a girl who is she's like a bachelorette to be married off, right? And her father is an older man who has fought in many wars for China and the emperor, but he's old and weak. And the Huns, particularly Attila and his gang, decide to jump the wall, and they're headed to the Forbidden City. They're going to try and fucking take over China. And when that happens, they send out their, the council of the emperor to go and recruit soldiers from every village to come and fight on the emperor's behalf. You must provide one male. And the father, Mulan fucks up in the beginning. She fails her little, like, it's like a matchmaker meeting where she's supposed to be learn how to be a perfect woman for a man and marry off. And she fucks that up. And, even the matchmaker, like, you bring shame to your family, to the fucking, the Fa family. So she's at her house. The guy comes and he calls for somebody from the Fa family, and the father goes up and he's got like a cane. He's fucked up. Like, he's not fit to fight, but he goes out there and he takes it. And then Mulan comes out and says, Dad, you can't. And then he literally like looks at me. He's like, you fucking dishonored me by even trying to get in the way of me doing what is right. So she's obviously, she's shook. She's like, my dad will fucking certainly die if he goes to the front lines. Mulan that night decides to cut her hair, take her dad's armor, take the fucking scroll that he got, and she rides off into the fucking night with a horse to replace her dad, because it's the only way she feels like she can prove herself to the family at this point, because she's not able to do the matchmaking thing. She feels like a failure as a woman. She's like, maybe I can save my dad and, at the very least, just fucking serve my family, even if it's just dying in the battlefield. It's fucking powerful shit, right? Well, they introduced Eddie Murphy's character Mushu. He's supposed to get this other fucking stone creature. It's like another statue of a dragon to go, but like he can't waken it. And I always thought it was weird as a kid. He's like trying to use the gong to waken up this stone dragon that the ancestors like that's who should protect. Mushu's just like this fucking small little dragon. They're like he's nothing. We need the big dog to help her in battle. But it's just funny. He can't wake up the stone statue dragon. And I Googled it. I'm like, why is it? And they say like Mulan is sitting below. This is a theory. She's sitting on that stone statue dragon when she decides to take her father's role. And some people say like she embodies it. And that's why like Mushu wasn't able to raise it, and get it to go and fucking do what the ancestors want. And I was like, wow, like that's profound as fuck if that is actually the intention. Cause like subtle. But I this time around as an adult, I'm like, why wouldn't the statue wake up? Like, just didn't make sense. So anyways, Mulan's got the fighting spirit in her. Mushu goes to join her. They bring the little Lucky Cricket, forgot to mention him. And it's like her, the horse, the Lucky Cricket, Mushu, and she makes some friends. Dude, if you've seen the movie, you get it. She goes through the training camp. She ends up having a battle with the Huns. She discovers her self like empowerment. She also, saves the day in the end. And I'll just give you the quick pitch because I want to talk more about the music in the movie. In the beginning, when Mulan is thinking about her remorse of not being able to bring honor to her family, she sings that song, I think it's called Reflection. Like, incredible song. Like, lyrically, performance-wise, the music was just fucking retardedly good. Like, I felt the emotion of it. And like, I think it's because Disney calls these universal themes, no matter what age you are, no matter who you are, what you look like, it doesn't matter. They provoke these ideas and thoughts in you. That song just, it hits. The I'll Make a Man Out of You song, just unfucking real. It starts with her as she's unable, all the men that go, I mean, she's a woman, but all the soldiers that go are unable to achieve the task that Shang, their, general or commander, is asking to do, Captain Shang. And by the end of the sequence, there's just this powerful, like, a cappella vocal of just the vocalist. I think it's Donny Osmond who does the vocals, just singing. And it's like when she finally figures out how to do the thing nobody else could do, get the arrow off the totem pole or the big pole, right? The Shang guy shoots it up there and is like, if you can get this arrow, whatever, like, you'll be the best soldier here. Like, until we do it, no one's done with training. She figures out how to be innovative and get it. She proves herself to all the other soldiers who, kind of hate on her. And it's just a sequence. It's just so emotionally powerful. Like, for an animated film, by the way, like, Disney's animation at this point in time is possibly their best. I love the Pixar animation. I just said a lot of good things about Pixar. I just think that the 3D animation, like, why couldn't we have both? Why couldn't we have the 2D with the 3D? It is just so well illustrated, so well drawn. It is beautiful. It's like looking at a painting, and like, it's a lost art. And I really, really fucking think Disney like could just go back to making those style of animated films and people will still love them as much as they love Pixar. And it's not all about the graphics and the quality. Like, Mulan is a 1998 hand-drawn, hand-animated film, and it fucking just didn't matter. It's a beautiful piece of art. Back to the music though, like, Make a Man Out of You, incredible. There's the other song, A Girl Worth Fighting For. It's just insane. Like, the songs, like maybe like 3 or 4 of the songs in the film are just absolute hit songs. I don't remember any music at the later half of the film, but it doesn't even matter. Look, like, the idea also was based off of like real Chinese folklore. Like, it's called the Ballad of Mulan, I believe, or no, maybe it's something else. It doesn't matter. But her story was something that was told throughout China in the past. And like, the way they did it, I understand some Chinese people have a problem with the way that the story was depicted through I call it the American lens. But on the other hand, I think it's nice, and I get where they're criticizing it for sure. Like, they're talking about, like, in some of the songs, like, we like shrimp fried rice and shit. It's like, I'm sure they're not happy you're just fucking like stereotyping their food and shit to make it sound like, fucking New York City Chinese restaurant order. My point more so though is that, like, if anything, I think it beautifully showcases the Chinese culture, the Chinese people, and also like it just made me like admire their, just it made you admire the Chinese. It was great. It's also they talk about like DEI and representation. Like, like as a kid, I never watched Mulan and thought like, oh geez, it's a lot of Asian people. I get it. It's stupid to even think like that in general, but like, I feel like now they're like pointing it out. Like, look, we got a movie of all Asian people. It's like who gives a fuck? I like Mulan because I Mulan's cool. I like her family. I like the characters. Another thing too is like, yes, the actress who actually plays Mulan is Chinese, but like, it's even like Eddie Murphy. You know, you got a black guy playing like a Chinese character in the movie. Like nobody was tripping. They're just like, it's all good. He's the right guy for it. Um, my point more so is just like I feel like everyone's so caught up on like this or that. It's just like the right person for the role is the right person. The right voice is the right voice. Just let it just be organic. Let it come together and be who feels right. And I understand the movie like Mulan. Sure, there's like powers that be. Like Eddie Murphy's hot right now. Let's plug him into it. But I think it's more so he's just good for the role. I also want to say this: we watched Mulan 2 after, and Eddie Murphy's character Mushu is replaced by like Eddie Murphy has like a vocal double. It's just like white dude who like sounds just like Eddie. But when I was watching 2, because Christine's like, we should watch 2. I was like, I've never fucking seen 2. She's like, I can't believe you haven't seen 2. One, the budget was lower, animation was a little bit less magnificent. But I knew right away, that's not Eddie fucking Murphy. Like my ear's good for shit like that. And I looked it up, and I'm like, the reason Eddie probably didn't come back for this is one fucking word: Shrek. He struck gold with Mulan. He fucking is pumping oil with Shrek. Like that motherfucker, he's got the voice to personify these characters so well. But I think he did Mulan and realized, yo, I'm onto something. Because he probably did Mulan 1999, 1998-ish, probably whenever Mulan wrapped, booked Shrek, and like the rest is history. But anyways, besides the point, Mulan, beautiful movie, intense action sequences. I also think it's funny they do the parallel. Mulan's dressed as a dude, right? And then at the end, to break into the Emperor's like castle to fool the Huns, all of her friends like dress as like geishas or whatever, the Chinese garb with the white makeup and the red face paint. And they go into the fucking castle dressed as women while she's dressed as Mulan. And they call them something, oh, I can't remember the word. It's not Commodore, it's something weird. But anyways, they pretend to be like, like not escorts, but escorts, right? And that's how they break in. But I was like, what a good reflection of like oh, she's dressed as a man. Look at now they're dressed as a woman to help save the day. It was just a funny parallel. They did a good job at like incorporating all these things. And once again, like they make like Eddie Murphy's making like drag show jokes and shit. Like he doesn't give a fuck. He says a lot of adult stuff in Mulan that like it's not foul, but like if you're an adult and you hear it, you're like, damn, this is edgy for a Disney movie. And I just think it's funny. Like Disney's gotten like the world has gotten a little scared of just making fun of like people or groups or whatever. And I'm just like, dude, just fucking everybody just relax. We gotta laugh about this shit because some of the shit out there is a little strange. It's not what you would by definition call normal. And no one's saying it in a hateful way. Like, look, for the record, like if you're above the age of 18, you can do whatever the fuck you want with your life. I don't care. I don't care. It's your life. You do you, man. And please let me do me. But don't get upset when somebody jokes about something you do. It'd be like if you fucking, I don't even have an example. If you smoke pot and people make fun of you for smoking pot, and you're like, oh, like I can't believe somebody's making. It's like, yeah, well, fuck, like people get made fun of every day for fucking anything. It doesn't matter. People just need to stop taking it so serious because people are so just upset about shit. Everyone's so angry these days. It's just like fucking relax, dude. Life is happening whether you want it to or not. Just fucking take a chill pill, my guy. Disney certainly was on a chill wavelength back then. You could tell the world was different back then. That's all I'll say. You could just tell like the tone and sure, like we progress, times change, certain things are not okay to do, but like I even heard somebody talking about like being fat back in the day before Ozempic. I don't remember what comedian it was, but like we had Ozempic back in the 80s. It was called shame. Like, and I get it, like even body positivity and stuff. Like I don't care about the body positivity movement. And like I think it's fine. Like accept yourself for who you are. I think that's very true. But it's also like being healthy isn't fucking a bad thing. Like if you can be healthy, try and be healthy. And I'd equate that to like kind of the temperature now. It's like, well, like people are just like, well, I'm okay with being unhealthy. You should accept that. And it's like, well, people care about you. Even if it's a stranger, that's why people would even say something. So I just think we're in a different place in society. And I think things are not even getting back to normal, but I think people are cooling down. But watching these Disney movies, like it was truly odd that not odd, but it was just like, dude, like I feel like if these movies came out today, there would be protests about the language used or the screenplay or like the way they go about talking about certain types of people. And it's just funny because Disney in society seemed like they didn't used to care. People were just kind of just living their lives. And now everything feels so focused on this like policing of language and stuff, which is super stupid. Like, you don't want censorship, you don't want policing, you don't want people telling you what to think or say, and you shouldn't be afraid to say or believe things that you want to believe. And I even hear people talk about like hate speech. Like, I'm not pro hate speech. I think it's awful to fucking go out and say things that are hateful and despicable. And whether it's racist or something like that, it's just, you just don't do that. But if somebody does say it, they're basically just letting you know what they think. And you can take that information and you can decide whether or not to associate or believe or support those type of people. So censorship would hide those people away to the point where like you wouldn't be able to know if somebody's good or bad. Wouldn't you rather have it transparency where you can see them with the naked eye and be like, I know what that guy thinks. That guy's a fucking bad dude. Or that lady, she's gross. Like, her ideas and the way she is. Like, you can't expose somebody for that unless like there is the freedom of speech and stuff. I even saw a local reporter. He had some like heat for, he went to an event just to record, and like he was like basically shunned out of the event. And I'm like, this guy is a good dude. He has done nothing to anybody. He's an honest reporter with a very objective point of view. And I just like, it's just like, damn, like, just because somebody's reporting these days, like a suppression of the First Amendment, also like the freedom to report, observe, see what you see. It's just concerning. Like, you really don't want, like, even the flock camera system. This is getting more into like fucking like local politics or California politics, but like the flock camera system, yes, it's great that we can capture like, sick fucks, but like it's also like I have nothing to fear, but it's like I'm not like really pro police state. I'm not pro surveillance. I'm not pro any of that. I'm very like privacy. I'm pro privacy. You need to be able to retain your privacy. And I actually think there's some highly questionable things going on with the flock camera system and like the tracking, and like people talk about Palantir as well, and like maybe the future being the social credit score, which I don't think that's, they say it's in China, but I've read things where it's like it's not what you think. Like, like I saw like a street that gets jaywalked in China. They post pictures of all the people that are jaywalking like up on the other side of the street in their face. And it's like, I mean, like it's like literal social shame. I was just talking about how shame works, but like, isn't it just kind of strange? Like, I don't know if that's like the world I want to live in. I don't want to live in the Minority Report version of life. I want to live in just the fucking normal version. And it's a slippery slope. You give someone an inch, they'll take a mile. They're doing flock camera systems next. I mean, I flew to fucking Ireland. Like, they asked me if I want to do a facial scan. I'm like, can I do manual? And they're like, yeah. I didn't have to do the facial scan. I had to do it. And I think the Czech Republic, they just were like, you just can't come in if you don't do it. I'm like, well, fuck it. I'll be in your Czech database, but which America probably already fucking has, probably have tapped into every database in the world. But anyways, I'm not a fan of surveillance or the surveillance state. I'm not a fan of suppression of free speech. I don't like that stuff. I think, and I don't think the people that were writing these scripts back at Disney back in the day were either. I think they're just writing good scripts, good movies. This is an aside. I was talking about movies. I know I got down more of a tangent of like my own conspiracy on these fucking, entities, but we watched like 27 Dresses. What else? We watched another great rom-com. It's not coming to mind. We watched Along Came Polly. Dude, these movies were just so funny. They're so well made. They're so heartwarming and uplifting. And maybe it's just a reflection of the times. Once again, I'm talking about a lot of stuff between 95 and 2015. Like, this was just a golden era for fucking filmmaking and movies. But the scripts were good. Modern movies, I just don't see myself like. There's exceptions, like Michael was a fucking 10 out of 10. But I don't see these modern movies being as gripping, or as like I'm just like so into it. And look, it's not because movies aren't good in general. It's not like the idea of movies is still very popular. It's the type of movies being made, it's the screenplays, maybe it's the actors, but a good movie's good. I'll watch one of these old movies, even if I haven't seen it. And I'll be like, I watched a Domestic Disturbance movie from the 2000s. And I was just like, holy fuck, like so engaging, so on. It's something about the style of film and the writing. And maybe it's the business has changed too. Hollywood's fucked right now. They're really in trouble. Like, yes, I see they're greenlighting a lot of IP, like Austin Powers 4, Shrek 5. There's a new Jim Carrey Grinch movie coming out. So like, I get it. They're starting to wake up. They're like, well, fuck, maybe we should make sequels to shit people like, not just 20 fucking superhero movies a year. They're going to learn the hard way, because everybody else has kind of moved on. They're kind of like, we're just going to make shit we want to make outside the system. And I've mentioned, Curry, Baker, Kane, Parsons, sure, but there's always an indie revolution, and that's kind of what's going on right now. And it's also just like, people don't want to see like I even saw the East of Eden trailer for Netflix, and like one, it was directed by Kazan. I think Elia Kazan back in the day. I think his granddaughter's directing this new one. But like for a story that says it's Salinas Valley story, not one frame was shot in fucking Salinas Valley. Maybe they had second unit, but I looked on IMDb. It says it's all shot in New Zealand, and it's being made by a nepo baby whose grandfather made the original. And look, like I love the original East of Eden. I actually like this girl a lot. She's good. I saw her in that show Clickbait. She's a blonde girl, right? But what I don't like is I saw the trailer and it's like Florence Pugh. It seems like they've just made it like from the girl's point of view, and it just doesn't. It's just like it was like it was a fucking James Dean movie. What are we doing? And it wasn't shot in the town that I'm from. That definitely would have appreciated the business and would have been the correct location to tell the story. And it just seems like nonsense. Like, why bother even making this version at all if you're not going to fucking do it right? And let alone change it. And like, I think people are just sick of it. They're sick of that version of Hollywood. They want authenticity and genuine filmmakers. And I this sounds like almost rhetorical, but I think that's really what people want. They don't want this whatever, this Netflix version of shit. I think Netflix is in deep fucking trouble. They didn't get the Warner's deal. They don't have Paramount. I see they're thinking about buying Lionsgate. Lionsgate just made a lot of money with Michael. I don't know if they're thinking about letting themselves get bought out. If they do, they do. But I don't know. Hollywood's in a change. All right. End of the rant. I'm going to share another fucking affirmation out of my book, The Filmmaker Mindset, A Mindset for Creating Without Permission. The book is available on Amazon. It's also on like Gumroad. But look, I say this every time. You don't have to buy any of my shit. I'm not really selling. I'm just making the shit anyways. But I've been doing these posts on Instagram. So if you want to read the affirmations, they're on my personal Instagram at Devin Thomas Film. But I just, I read this book. Like I said, I read it almost every day. And I don't read the whole book, but I'll just like open it up and I'll read something. I have a few copies sitting around the house and I'll open it up. I have one at my parents. I opened it up when I was making fucking eggs this morning. I'm like, oh, let me read. They're just always good. So I'm going to fucking scroll, or excuse me, flip rather, to a random page and just find one that I like. Hold on. I'm looking for a good one. They're all good, but I want to find the perfect one. Here's a good one. Two good ones. I am resilient. I don't fold under pressure. That's super important. If you want to be a filmmaker, particularly a director, you've got to be able to handle fucking pressure. You got to be able to handle people changing their mind, not doing what you say, and being able to respond professionally and clearly and articulately without losing your fucking marbles. Because when you're young, pressure can crush you like a fucking aluminum can. But when you're an adult man or woman, you can use your own, how do I say this? Your experience shapes who you become. And resilience is built, they say diamonds or pressure makes diamonds, right? It's kind of that, like, dude, if you really want to be good, you got to get some thick skin and just fucking understand that, like, you got to keep like getting back up. You're going to get knocked down 1,000 fucking times in one day on a film set by shit that's out of your control. Do you want to keep going? Are you resilient to fucking, withstand the fucking barrage of shit that happens when you're making a movie? It's tough. I had one person tell me one time, like, on a movie set, like, if you're working on like a picture with a lot of people, like, you're gonna know somebody who knows somebody that dies, somebody's birthday is gonna happen, someone's gonna get hurt, someone's gonna have a baby. Like, it's kind of true. Like, when you're making a movie, so much shit happens just because you're talking to other people. So many people have things going on in their lives you don't know about, right? And you've got to be able to, pivot with the pressure. The other one I'm going to read right now, rejection is redirection, not the end. I can't tell you how many times somebody has told me no, more than I could fucking count. I've heard the no, I'm not going to help you so many times. And you know what? The rejection just builds the fire. I call it jet fuel. I've had people that I've been even close with just fucking shit on me that I thought really cared about trying to work on something or help me. I've had people just because they won't let me do it. I'm like, I'm going to prove you wrong. And you need to use any rejection as like, just sure, there's always going to be a sting, and it gets less with age. But when you're young and you're a young filmmaker or creator, even like, I did music business for a long time. I had massive rejection in the music business, not because of, yeah, I just like, low key, I was defamed in the music business. Same with my brother. We were in a band, and like for a long time, like I had to like hear rumors and shit people would say about me that was just outlandish and absolutely not true, which is actually more of a projection of the people who wanted to disband with our project. But I was just, it was just like you rejected by a group. It was tough. And, you figure out a way to pivot and redirect and become bigger and better and stronger. Now with filmmaking, not so much that drawing, such it's old. I'm talking 15, 20 years ago. But with my own personal like film career, it's just like I've heard no. I've had to wait a long time to get shit done or do things. And it's just it all ends up working out in the end. You get redirected to the direction you're supposed to be going in, and the path, I think it's the Rumi quote, like, if you set on the path will reveal itself to you. I always butcher that quote, but like, I think of it, once you start getting on the path, you start getting to the next part of the path. And that's kind of it right there. Even if you get rejected, the redirection will set you on the right path, and it always does. And some things don't work out for a reason, and you'll be happy. I mean, there was a person I was working with that wanted to make a movie, and we were trying to raise money, and like, thank fucking God we didn't go through with this project, because it's just not somebody I would have ever wanted to work with, and it actually led to making Peninsula Nights. It's funny, I had this one guy tell me, like, if you work on my movie in 10 years, we'll make Peninsula Nights. I'm like, what? So when I'm fucking 40? I don't think so. I'm not here to waste fucking time. Anyways, I digress. Yeah, don't worry about rejection and stay resilient. Those are really all I can say. That's what I've done. And I fucking have, I'm here now, and I'll cap it with this. All that bullshit and stuff I just said about like, oh, rejection, like everyone's experiencing their own version of this shit. And when you get to where you want to go, that shit those are just fucking notches on the belt. They're just battle scars, dude. Like it means nothing. Those people aren't going to be around to celebrate the success anyways. And when you do think about them, it's just, they were there to help serve you on your fucking mission and your fucking path. So anyways, I'll leave you with that. I'm looking forward to the move, hopefully in the next 10 to 15 days. I think July 1st is the day we move out. So I don't know. It's the 19th. We'll definitely talk before then, but look out for that. In the meantime, I'm going to go out. The weather's been so. I'm going to try and catch Toy Story 5. I still want to see Disclosure Day. I still want to see Obsession and Backrooms. I have just not gone to the fucking theater. And I even looked at like the Cinemark over in like Marina, because like it's the other local theater around here. And dude, it's just packed. I'm surprised at how busy it is. I was getting used to the theater being mostly vacant. Like I just went and saw Michael with my mom, and it was us and then fucking two people, like maybe like a husband and wife, like a couple fucking rows down. That was it. 4 people in a fucking 80-seater, 100-seater. I'm not saying it's good for business, but it's good for me. I enjoy it. Anyways, guys, I think that's about all I got. Like I said, we'll talk soon, very soon, and we'll fucking hopefully be in the new place by then. But anyways, I'm Devin Thomas, and this has been another episode of Unscripted. I'll talk to you all next week. Peace, guys.